welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Julia. This is Julia's Sunday Night Dinners. Now this week I'm gonna take you to Italy. I'm gonna make you a quick and easy tomato sauce. Now this is gonna be a marinara sauce. No meat. It's gonna be a little chunky, and it's the kind of sauce that I really like to make. You can make this with meat. By throwing the meat in first, sauteing that, then throwing in your onions and everything and going from there. But I decided I was going to do it vegetarian. I was thinking about maybe even doing veggie meat crumbles that you can find. Boca makes them, Morningstar Farms makes them. They're in the frozen aisle, and you can also find some near the tofu. But this week I decided I'm just going to make a regular old tomato sauce, marinara sauce. It's going to be great, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Now this week, I'm going to use some whole peeled tomatoes. Now, these are, as I said before, these are my favorite pantry ingredient. If there's one thing you need to have in your pantry at all times, it's this, whole peeled tomatoes. Now, usually, they look something like this. You'll get either anything as big as this down to as small as this. And they're peeled, and they're usually reserved in juice. Now, this is the juice from 2 cans worth. Now, Now, I've already chopped most of them up. I'm going to show you how to chop these up real quickly. Now, make sure you use a cutting board that has one of these rims on it, because when you cut these, let me cut them over here, because when you cut these, a lot of juice comes out. Okay, just like that. And imagine cutting a full 2 cans worth. If you use a normal cutting board that doesn't have one of these around it, you'll have a huge mess. But looking at that, it'll collect right here. Might have a little bit, but it won't be as big of a mess. Now, I took the juice from the rest and I poured it in here. This is the juice that came from the tomatoes themselves. Now, this juice, that's one reason why I really do like these tomatoes like this, because they're a lot less work. They are so much less work. I used to take tomatoes, used to go to a local stand near my parents. It used to be near me, but since I moved, they actually had day-old tomatoes that were not good for slicing down, but they were perfect for making sauces out of. And they were $1 a basket. Now the baskets were, I'd say, about double the size of this. And you didn't just go over and see a basket and pick it out. You got to pick through what they had. And if it was relatively early in the day, or towards the middle of the day, you got a good selection of tomatoes to pick from. And some of them might have, a few bruises, a few gashes, some that just didn't grow correctly, and you had some really good sauces out of them. But it's a pain. You had to boil them, you had to blanch them, which means you just boil them for like 10 seconds, take them out, and then you peel them, and then you squeeze the seeds out, and then it was a pain in the butt. Then I discovered these just by accident, and they were $1 per can. And you can find these normally around $1 per can, anywhere up to, I think I saw in the supermarket a couple days ago, anywhere from $1 to like $4. That's crazy. I wouldn't pay $4 for this. I wouldn't pay $4 for tomatoes in general. But you got these, and they're perfect. The recipe ready. All you have to do is cut them up, and you're good to go. So I've cut up all these tomatoes. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my onion. I'm going to add a little extra virgin olive oil. or as Rachel Ray calls it, EVOO. And I'm going to throw this in here. Throw these in here. Get those going. Now, I used to make a tomato sauce that took a long time to make. I swear, it took at least 4 hours to cook with lots of with meat and it cooked down, and it just wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't easy to make. And I always thought, until recently, that sauces and soups were hard to make. They were long processes, and you had to wait for a long time for them to cook. That's not the case. I mean, if you want a deep flavor out of your tomato sauce, yeah, you can let it cook. Certain sauces, like my dad's veal sauce or a good meat sauce, can cook for quite a long while. But you do have sauces that are quick, they're easy, and they're cheap. Just like my last date. Oh! But anyway, yeah, I haven't had a date in a long while, but that's another story. But when I do have dates, I love to cook. And you don't want to have the tomato sauce sitting there for hours and hours when you got someone waiting for you in the living room. So, these are starting to sweat. They're getting nice and translucent. And at this point, we're going to add 3 cloves of garlic, freshly chopped. Now again, you want to be careful about garlic. Garlic, especially when it's small and chopped up, has a tendency to burn. So, got to mix that up. At this point, let's add some salt and pepper. We'll be adding it a couple of times during this process. Always use freshly ground black pepper because the essential oils come out when you crack it. If you get the pre-cracked stuff, it doesn't turn out as good. It has almost no flavor to it. Alright, now it's time. I'm going to add some carrots. Now you're thinking carrots are a very unusual ingredient in this. Well, yeah, they are. But I like a sweet sauce. You can leave them out if you don't like it as sweet. But I'm going to take some carrots. These are already shredded. Now, buying shredded carrots, as much as I usually advocate saving money and buying stuff raw and not cut, and in its, you know, in its natural state, I do like shredded carrots because they're only $1 more. You get, it's about 10 ounces instead of 99 cents for a pound, and really, you're only going to get about 10 ounces worth of usable carrots once you cut them up. So it's worth the extra $1. So if you don't like carrots, but you still want a sweet sauce, a little later in the cooking process, you can add a little bit of sugar to it. But if you're trying to save on calories, this is a really great way to add some sweetness to your food. Especially to sauces, soups. I throw them in my lasagna. Ooh, I make a veggie lasagna. It was my mom's recipe, taken from a box of Barilla pasta. The ready-made lasagna, that's it. And the oven-ready lasagna. And basically with that, you just add extra sauce, and you're good with those instead of the water. And she turned the recipe from a meat recipe into a veggie recipe, and that turned out really great. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the tomatoes. Now, we're going to keep some of the tomatoes. I'd say about half the can.